Hey guys and girls, I'm Link123 and welcome to part 2 of Zelda Ocarina of Time's history. In the last episode we saw some very early screenshots and even some few gameplay videos of the development of Ocarina of Time. This was very early and we couldn't see any kind of Ocarina of Time retail version in this version. But now the development takes forward and actually gets some progress, so now we will be able to see some few of the same things as we got in the retail version. So let's begin with the next stage, which I will call the A and C stage, because we are only able to see the A button and 3 C buttons. The 3 C buttons is our items buttons as we know it in the retail version. But the A button is our sword button, so we are actually, we are not able to use anything with the B button. I got an idea why we don't see the B button, because it might be a navy button, it might be a camera steering button, but yeah, who knows, I got nothing to know about this. But yeah, let's start with the very first screenshot to analyze, and yeah, it's going to be so fun, right? So the very first screenshot from this stage is from the graveyard. I think this screenshot is one of the best resolution screenshots from the beta of Ocarina of Time. Sadly, a lot of these screenshots are like 100 x 200 pixels, so it's nothing. I can't barely use them for any kind of video, sadly. But this one is very great quality, so we are able to see a lot of things. But yeah, this area is also very simple made because it's still a very early build of Ocarina of Time. Okay, we can see the Poe here, which is the first object I will analyze, and it looks pretty cool because it looks like a ghost actually. It doesn't look like this weird looking ghost as in the retail version. I think the retail version got some purple scarf or something like that on it, so it fits nothing for the actual Poe. But this one looks like a ghost, and also this black face with green eyes, it looks pretty creepy, but that's pretty much like the same. So yeah, this ghost looks really creepy, and even the lantern looks perfect to me. It looks pretty much like a house, but I know it's a lantern because the Poe couldn't hold a fucking house. So anyways, this Poe looks really cool to me because, yeah, as I said before, it looks like a ghost, and yeah, it fits much better for the graveyard because of its color scheme, not like this purple thing on the original one, or the original one in the retail version, but this one, yeah, it's just perfect. The lantern doesn't look like it makes any kind of light, it's just some kind of a textured lantern, nothing else. But yeah, I don't care. The area looks pretty light even when it should be night, I think, because of the moon there. But anyways, let's talk about the area, because this one looks really cool to me. We can see some tombstones in the background. They looks a bit better than the actual retail version, because it looks like they are a bit more detailed, and yeah, just the model of it looks pretty cool. The original one, or the retail version, there was like a pretty weird one. It looks like a triangle or something like that, and yeah, very simple. But this one looks like an actual tombstone. But anyways, we can't see anything in the background except for the sky, which looks pretty creepy for a graveyard, and then this brown stripe. I think this could indicate a stone wall, but due to the render distance, yeah, it might be some kind of a very badly graphics thing. But yeah, I don't know. It also looks like this area has some kind of a little way going through it, because Link is standing on this little, what can I call it? Dirt way. It looks like some kind of a dirt, right? Yeah, but this graveyard is very simple, and I don't think there are going to be anything in this area. There is actually a little movie, as you can see here, which shows Link running around this area, and it's very simple, sadly, but yeah, it's a very early build, so we can't say anything to it. If we're going to talk about Navi and Link, there's not much to say. We can see that Navi is actually turning pink while being over Link, because Link is not targeting on the Poe, he's just standing in front of it. So that's pretty weird. Maybe Navi should be pink, just normally. It could indicate that Navi should be a girl, like, for real. If you look on Link's model, he still got these brown sleeves and brown leggings, so yeah, there's not much changed here. We can't see Link's sword or the shield, but we will be talking about this on a later screenshot. If we're going to talk about the in-game HUD, it's very simple, but still it got some kind of a texture. If you look on the C button especially, you can clearly see there are some kind of 2 yellow balls, like, glowing in the background. Pretty nice. It is possible to find the actual icon or the texture for this in-game HUD in the retail version. If you try to really look down in the files in the game, you can actually be able to find this. If you are really good at modding or just some texture editing for Ocarina of Time, you can actually be able to put it in the actual game. If we're going to talk about the items that Link got, then yeah, it's very simple items, a bow, some bumps, yeah, that's pretty usual for a Zelda game, and then 2 swords. Yeah, as you can see on lower C button, he actually got a sword. That's pretty weird because you're not able to put any sword or any shield, nothing from the actual item menu on the C buttons. That's pretty weird. By using GameShark codes, you are actually able to do the precisely same in the retail version. It's not that buggy, it's actually really fitting great for the game, and as you can see on this screenshot, it looks perfect and actually pretty much like the same as this development stage. You can put the Master Sword and even the big Goron Sword on your C buttons and even some kind of a fishing rod, but by doing this, you crash the game. Meh. Anyways, back to analyzing this picture. As you can see here, some very simple hearts are appearing in the left corner of the picture here, and it looks really cool. You can actually find the same texture for these in the retail version. Once again, as you can see here, it's very simple, but it looks really cool. I don't know about the rupees, but Link is really poor. He got 000, and he don't get any rupees through this development stage. As you can see on all the screenshots, yeah, he still has 000, sadly. So this time I picked 2 different screenshots, but they probably look a bit familiar because these 2 areas was used in the last version as we was talking about. As we can see on the left picture, Link is fighting a Stalfos, and on the right picture we can see Link is fighting 2 Dodongos. There's not much to say here because the in-game HUD is the same, the rupees is the same, Link's model is the same, and even the area is the same from the last version. But anyways, yeah, you can see Navi is turning red over an enemy, and you can see on the left picture with the Stalfos that the Stalfos is pretty gigantic actually, probably some kind of a boss, I don't know. And Link's sword here on both screenshots are pretty gigantic. Did you got the joke? Link's sword? Anyways, so you can see the sword is very long, and that could indicate it is the big Goron sword. I think it actually is. And actually, if you are really closely looking, you can see on the left screenshot, Link got some kind of a light brown sword on the A button, sorry, and on the right screenshot he got the other sword, which is more darkly brown. So okay, he has switched between his swords. The next screenshot is from the Gerudo Desert because of the enemies. These was also appearing at the front of the spiritual temple, so this area needs to be the desert. Anyways, we can see the textures and even the model from this enemy was kept to the retail version, and that's pretty cool, but it looks pretty much like something that could be used in a Zelda game, so it wouldn't make sense to change this enemy. As we can see in the background, this desert should be very simple, maybe because there wasn't added anything yet, but also if we take a look on the next screenshot in a second, then we will actually get a little theory there. But this area looks very simple. It could be the Haunted Wasteland because there was nothing else than these flags and also this bump selling man, but yeah, I don't know, I got no clue to this. So the next 2 screenshots, as I was talking before, can actually make a little theory, because this looks like some kind of a very early place of the spiritual temple. This could be fitting into the desert because, yeah, it looks some kind of a sandstone place, but at the same time, a lot of people means that this is the actual Sky Temple. Woo! I got no clue about this because we only got these 2 screenshots and nothing else. but it could actually indicate that it is the Sky Temple, because if you look on the right screenshot here, you can clearly see nothing in the background except for the sky. And even though the temple itself looks very much like something outstanding from the game, nothing like the spiritual temple with this statue in the front, no, nothing like this have actually appeared in the retail version. This can make this theory very big, because we only got 2 screenshots of this place and nobody knows where Link is standing actually. I got the idea that this could actually be the Sky Temple because of the sky in the background and there's nothing else. But if you look really closely on this kind of black stripe underneath the sky, it could actually be the desert. I don't know, but yeah, there is so many things that could happen on this picture, but since they are so badly resolution, I can't even analyze them, sadly. But it is a pretty cool thing, and yeah, these 2 pictures is one of my favorite ones, because there's so much to talk about. Woo! So the next and final screenshot is this. It looks really familiar to something that we have seen before. Yes, that's right, the Stalfos room from the last development stage, or even this one actually also. It looks pretty much like the same because of the red carpet in the middle of the room and even these pillars in the sides. But I don't think this is the same area, because if you are seeing this pedestal that Link is standing in front of, it could actually indicate that this is the Temple of Time. Whoa, that's right, and it could even indicate it more because of these torches in the sides, and even also because of the pillars, because it's pretty much the same as the Temple of Time as we know it in the retail version. Even though this area is very simple too, you can see on the door that, yeah, it's just some kind of a black square. But Link is standing on this pedestal and he could have been picking up some kind of a sword, something else maybe the Triforce? I don't know, but this area looks really cool. Another thing is, I think this is a pre-rendered background. If you don't know what a pre-rendered background is, then you can see it here. Yeah, it's the same as a market town, for example, or at any house, that you see a picture in the background instead of an actual 3D model. To me, this rendered effect makes the game looks much more simple and not that much finished, because you haven't used that much time on it. But as you can see on these screenshots from the market, without any 3D models in the front that Link can run into, any doors or something, it looks also pretty cool. It can really set the mood for the game, and I really like it also. But at some places this effect shouldn't be done, and shouldn't be done at the Temple of Time, because Temple of Time is just Temple of Time, okay? Nothing should be changed there, just keep it as a model, okay? But yeah, again, we don't know anything about this area. Another thing with this stage of development is pretty cool. As you can see on this very little video, that Link is actually turning his head as like a camera view, just like in Super Mario 64 and the last version as I was talking about. You can see a little comparison between Super Mario 64 and this stage of development of Ocarina of Time here. It looks pretty much the same, and I think this could be very fitting for the game, because it just looks very cool, right? And it just gives another looking thing to the game than just Link's eyes, because nah, it's not that cool, I think. The last thing I will be talking about from this stage is actually the trailer. It was the very first time we saw a trailer for this, and it looks really amazing. Just take a look here. Try to take a look on how Link moves here, because it looks really smooth, actually smoother than Michael Jackson. Anyways, I really like this version because we actually got a trailer and it looks fantastic, seriously. We can also see that Link is fighting a Stalfos in Ganon's castle, a little sunset here, which looks really amazing actually. Another thing which is pretty cool with this version is in the trailer you can see a logo for the actual game. As you can see here, it wasn't called Zelda Ocarina of Time, but Zelda 64. It looks really cool, but I think Zelda Ocarina of Time gives the game much more personality and just much more stuff in it. So yeah, Zelda 64 is just some kind of an early title for the game, and that's pretty cool. Super Mario 64, Zelda 64, nice, it fits perfectly. I think the idea was to make a Zelda game based on Super Mario 64, so they got some of the same functions and same controls in it. As you can see on this video clip, Link is looking on the Deku Tree. So this means the first dungeon at least was actually added to the game. But since Young Link wasn't added in the game, then what the hell, what is going on? I think the Deku Tree should be available for Adult Link at some point. But maybe Adult Link should just be able to go in there from the start. I don't know, and I even don't know the storyline from this stage of development. It could be pretty cool to see some screenshots from the actually in-game of the Deku Tree. I don't know, and I never got that because I can't find it on the internet. So that is everything from this development stage. I think it began to be the actual Ocarina of Time as we know it today. You can clearly see some of the same things in this version as in the retail version. So let's begin analyzing the next development stage. This looks pretty much like the original Ocarina of Time as we know it today, but for sure with some few differences. The first screenshots I will be talking about is from the desert. As you can see on these screenshots, it shows us Link in some different positions and even on some different places at the desert. The first one I will be analyzing is the top one, so let's just begin. You can clearly see that Link is sliding downhill because of some quicksand maybe, or just a little hill he's sliding down. I don't know. Anyways, in the background we can see some palms, and even in the left side of the picture we can see a little palm. I don't know if this is just a plant, maybe, I don't know. The background shows us a very similar place to the spiritual temple place, so this might be a planning desert for the retail version. I can clearly see that this is going to be Desert Colossus as we know it in the retail game, so that is pretty cool. Okay, the next picture is the lower left one. We can see Link is standing in front of the camera, which looks really cool. He don't have these brown leggings and brown sleeves anymore, but they are more light brown, so he begins to lose this very brown clothing. Pretty nice. The background shows us a lot of plants and even a palm in the right side. Pretty nice, it fits perfectly for the area. You can also see there is some few hills that Link is probably be able to sliding down off. So the top screenshot is probably from another angle of the same place. If you look on the in-game HUD, you can clearly see this is pretty much like the retail version. But if you look closely, the A and B button is just turned. So the A button is a sword button, but it used to be the B button. The B button is the action button, but used to be the A button. We still got this very early looking sword on the A button, but if you look closely on Link's sword here on the screenshot, you can actually see it is a Master Sword. If you look on the lower left one once again, you can see the bow and sword have actually switched their place. As you can see on the bow, it looks pretty much like the retail version. The only difference there is, it's just the middle of the bow is just green instead of red and blue. So there's nothing huge difference there. You can see on lower C button, you should be able to wear at least the forest medallion on it. I don't know what this should do, but as I can read on the internet, this should be a power that you should be able to put on your bow. This sounds pretty interesting because if you look on the bow, it's actually green in the middle as I said before, and the forest medallion is also green. So maybe the bow was affected by the power of the forest medallion. Maybe, who knows. The hearts is also a bit changed, they are more red now and looks pretty much like the retail version. Pretty nice. We can also see on the power meter here, it's not green because Link used all of his magic, but wow man, it's really a small meter there. I don't even think that you will be able to use one time of the light arrows. So that's also a little difference from the retail version, but you can clearly see that they took some of the ideas from the retail version in this beta. Because now they put the magic meter in it, they begin to take further on in the progress. Now to the last screenshot of the desert. You can see that Link is standing in this little pool. It looks pretty nice. We even got a lot of palms in the background and even some green textures on the sand. Really nice. There's not much to say about Link's model because it's just Link. A few more details on this because it's more close up. We can see the in-game HUD pretty much the same, except the lower C button. The forest medallion is now gone and replaced with a hammer. This could be the Megaton hammer, but no, it doesn't look like anything like that. People says that this is the ice hammer, and I don't know what they're thinking because ice hammer, Zelda, Megaton hammer, okay, I'm confused. Anyways, it looks pretty much like an ice hammer. It has some blue in it, some light blue, and also some kind of silver. So it looks really much like an ice thing. But where should Link be able to find this hammer? In this version we are not going to see anything from the ice cavern, an ice temple, or just some kind of an ice place. So what is going on here? The next 3 is not going to be analyzed to the end, but still, yeah, just an overlooking of these screenshots. You can see that Link is standing in a very familiar room. Yeah, that's right, it's the Goma's boss room in the Deku Tree, so this means that Link should be able to go into the Deku Tree as adult Link. If we take a look on the upper right screenshot, we can see that Link's shield is actually also in progress. It looks pretty familiar with the Highland shield as we got it in the retail version, but still also it is a very early one. The Triforce is very big on the shield, and I think this is a very cool idea because the Triforce is just a magical power thing, and yeah, Link, it's the hero, so for sure give him the fucking Triforce. Else there's not much to say because we actually summed up everything on the last screenshots, but it's pretty interesting that adult Link is actually fighting Goma. But anyways, at this development stage, young Link wasn't even planned for the game. So the Deku Tree was at least planned, so they began to actually create some dungeons for the game, and that's pretty nice. The next 2 screenshots comes from a very familiar temple. Yes, that's right, the Fire Temple. We can clearly see this is very familiar with the retail version because on the left picture we can see a little hallway to one of the rooms, and it looks pretty much like the original one, or the retail version if I can call it that. You can see here and here, yeah, pretty much the same, right? But try to take a look on the right screenshot because this looks much more like an early build of the Fire Temple, because of the lava is much more red than the retail version, but also because of these platforms that Link is jumping from, it looks a little bit different. You can see on the lower platform that Link is jumping to looks pretty much like a very early build. It has some different lightning on it and it looks much more black than the original one. But since we got screenshots from both the Deku Tree and even from the Fire Temple, this means that this stage of development could actually be going very forward in progress of creating temples and dungeons. This is very nice, and I really hope that we could find any more screenshots from probably the Forest Temple, Water Temple, and even some Shadow Temple. But I don't think we are able to find any more from the dungeons because, yeah, I have really emptied everything and every site on the internet for screenshots. But if you actually just take a look on the next screenshots, we will be able to see Dodongo's Cavern. Yeah, that's right. So that is the final screenshots of dungeons in this stage. We can see that Link is hanging from a bridge in Dodongo's Cavern, which looks pretty much like the retail version. On the upper right one, we can see Link in very profile looking and looks pretty much like the retail version. On the lower left screenshot, we can clearly see that Link is some kind of pushing a wall. I don't know what's going on there. But if you look on the in-game HUD, we can see that Link got the bumps on the A button. Nice. So this shows us another look of an item on the A button. This can actually be created by game codes in the retail version. Just take a look here. It looks really nice, and you are actually able to put any kind of item from the C button on the A button by using a game code, and that's really nice actually, because once again we can actually create some beta stuff in the actual retail version. Nice. On the last screenshot we can see Link is trying to climb a little wall here. The progress of creating dungeons and temples really got some progress here, and you can clearly see the familiar things from this dungeon to the retail version. Sadly, Adult Link wasn't planned to be the head character for Dodongo's Cavern, but he can still access the dungeon by being adult and just walk straight into it. The last 2 screenshots comes from Hyrule Field. We can clearly see that Link is standing in mid of nowhere, seriously, because there's just grass and yeah, nothing else. Except from the second screenshot where we also got some water, probably at Lake Hylia, I don't know, but still looks really cool, but really simple, sadly. Another cool thing is the horse, as you can see on both screenshots, actually shows you a very early build of Epona. People are saying that these two screenshots comes from a mission on Hyrule Field where Link needs to catch Zelda's horse because, yeah, it's gone. And I don't know, because in the retail version Epona was very slow and also, yeah, it was a really bad horse all at all. But this one could be a much better one, because if you should be able to catch a horse with your horse apparently, then yeah, you really need to have some kind of a ability on your horse just to catch the other horse. Anyways, these two screenshots shows us a clear look of Hyrule Field and probably also Lake Hylia. I don't know, don't take my word for it, but I think it could be Lake Hylia, even though it looks really simple, and even though we got no house, we got no area, we got nothing on this screenshot, so it could be everywhere. So that was the next 2 stages of developing Ocarina of Time. I hope you all enjoyed my informations and all these screenshots and even some few gameplay videos once again. Seriously, my voice is totally cracked up now because I'm talking the ass out, seriously, because there is so much information to give you guys and girls on each screenshot. So the next development stage is going to be a blast, because it's a stage where we got the most screenshots, most gameplay videos, most stuff to talk about, and yeah, just everything, seriously. It's the second release before the actual retail version came out. So the last thing to say now is just I hope you enjoyed my video here. I hope you wanna see the next part and even the last part if you haven't seen that yet, because these are for true Zelda fans. So if you're a true Zelda fan, make sure to check them out, really. So yeah, see you in the next part, guys and girls. It was Linksol123. See you next time. Bye.